A very large number of the criminal complaints filed in district court stem from people calling the cops on their family members. And in many, many cases, the reporting party comes to regret bringing the police into the household problems. So you can imagine the sort of scenarios where this happens. Obviously, if two spouses are fighting and the argument becomes heated, one of them might call the cops. You may have a situation with a parent living with an adult child who has maybe a mental illness or a drug problem, and they call the cops because they're having problems. And the cops are the ones trained to deal with problems. So people think by calling the police, they're calling in basically specialists to, I don't know what, mediate, calm things down. But in many cases, they show up and they arrest the offending family member. And people, for some reason, are startled or surprised by this. And there are also cases when they show up, there's no reason to make an arrest, but they might provoke people who are already worked up emotionally, or they'll do anything they can to find a reason to make an arrest. So if they see something in plain view, which would justify an arrest, if they get consent to search either a person or the person's belongings, and they could find something that would justify an arrest, they'll do it. They will absolutely check everybody for warrants, for restraining orders, for whatever they can to arrest the people they're interacting with. So it's important for people to keep this in mind before they call the police to their home to deal with a family member. Now, obviously, if the family member is an imminent threat, you should call the cops and get help. If they're not, then you should consider the other civil options that you have for dealing with the person. So you can get a restraining order, which is essentially a civil matter. You can ask for a civil commitment for substance abuse through Section 35. Or if mental illness is an issue, you can ask for a Section 12 hospitalization. With all of these civil proceedings, you have more control over what happens. However, when you call the police and they make an arrest, then it's in the hands of the police and the prosecution, and you can beg and plead with the prosecutor to dump the case, and he may not do it still. All right? So think twice before you call the police on a family member. I've written a blog post on this, and I will put it in the description below.